safari. Now there are two species of elephant, the African and the Asian. You can tell that our elephants here in the safari are Asian elephants due to their high domed forehead, their slightly arched back, and their much smaller ears. Now before we begin with the demonstrations, we'd like to start off with a brief introduction. Here we have with us today is 18-year-old George. That's because in the Asian species, only the males like George here will have those tusks, and the females have a shorter version known as tushes. George is just demonstrating for everybody here today how handy those tusks can be. And I think he might want to show off his work here. Excellent work, George. I think he's pretty proud of himself. How elephant tusks are made of everybody. Get a closer look. Now one of the most unique features of an elephant is, of course, their trunk. An elephant's trunk contains over 150,000 muscles and ligaments, which is more than we have in our entire body. An elephant will use its trunk with a large point, such as a louis or a tuning person. You can wait right here with your hands to use his amazing sense of touch along with the finger-like projection on the tip of his trunk. And he'd like to return that back to you there. I forgot George's pillow. He can be a little bit picky at times. Got it all ready. I'll fluff it up for you. This will be more comfortable. Here you go. You have to make sure it's all ready for him. There we go. Okay, that was too powerful of a boost. Maybe we should try that one more time. Hopefully I'll be a bit more successful this time, so I'll get all the way up there. Okay. Let's grab our tail then. Let's give this another try here. There we go. That was a little bit better. Maybe the whole way up here. Now in any elephant, we do have an express method. I'm going to use George's head just like a giant slide. Just like that. Well, thank you, George. Now, just like every family, there's usually at least one artist. Our elephant family is no exception. Today, George is going to feed us a one-of-a-kind picture, which you can purchase at our gift shop. He can easily pick it on the tip of his trunk, which is actually an extension of his nose and upper lip. Now, while George is working on his artwork, I'd like to tell you just a little bit more about elephants. They can live to be 60 to 70 years old. A full-grown elephant can eat up to 300 pounds of food a day. This consists of hay, fruits, vegetables, and various supplemented grains. They can also drink up to 60 gallons of water per day. Now, most species of elephants are in fact endangered. This is due to habitat loss and poaching for their ivory tusks. Here at the safari, we're extremely committed to the conservation of Asian and African elephants, both here at the park and in the wild. We're a founding member of the International Elephant Foundation, which helps provide funds for conservation acts worldwide. We're also home to the #1 breeding program in North America. We've had 18 babies born here since. I think you might want to show it off. What do we think? How did George do? Very beautiful. Well, there you have it, folks. George the elephant. To thank everybody for coming, we'd like to give you one last safari salute. And of course, the bow for a job well done. Unfortunately, this does bring us to the end of the show today, guys. But George did such an outstanding job. Do we think he deserves a treat? Yeah?
Guy, he is a polite little bird. A question to ask you all. A little bit of a how are you, and I see some smiles out there, Fernando. Now, you can't tell by looking at him or any of the other parrots we have out here right now is whether or not they're males or females. Quite often in the parrot family, males and females look exactly the same to us. The reason we know he's a male is we've taken a drop of blood, send it away to a lab, and they can actually tell us that through his DNA. Now, the reason why we didn't know, I'm not too sure, because he's always been a little bit of a flirt with the female Amazons in our collection. Fernando, what happens when you see one of the girls? There we go. A little bit of a comedian, getting a chuckle out of himself, flirting with the ladies. Now, by nature, parrots are very playful, though, and Fernando is certainly no exception to any rule. This is his favorite game to play with his trainers. Loves a good tickle. Now, we do like to call him our master of sound effects. He's picked up a few living with us. First off, the sound we make when we drink a cold glass of water. Some good little chug-a-lugs. He has learned to snort like a pig. A little rude, isn't he there? Well, we're not done yet. He has learned to bark like a dog. Not a very intimidating dog, but a bark nonetheless. Now, he's obviously very talented, though, and his talents actually extend musically. Loves whistling, singing, and dancing. So we're going to warm him up with some dancing today. Shall we dance? All warmed up, ready to whistle. Keep in mind as he whistles for you, it is different each and every presentation. He makes these tunes up as he goes along, so I never quite know what's going to come out of that little beak, but I'll see what he has for you all today.